For 2 years, many egg cartons in Germany have been marked with labels that say, "No male chicks culled." Sounds good, right? Before, male chicks would be shredded, since they served no purpose in egg production. So-called brother roosters of commercially bred hens can't lay eggs. Their meat isn't popular with consumers either.
No one wants these roosters.
With this breed line, it's just not possible to raise the brother cock sensibly.
Still, Germany's former agriculture minister Julia Klöckner legally banned chick culling.
Globally, we're the first to legally end this practice. It's unacceptable to kill animals immediately after hatching, just because they are of a certain sex. This is a milestone for animal welfare.
That law was just made for the media.
Millions of male chicks are still being hatched in Germany. The law angers animal rights activists.
It's really a hellish solution. Anyone buying these eggs should really think twice before falling for this PR trick.
What's happened to the millions of male chicks born in Germany since the law took effect in 2022? Our search for them takes us from Germany to Poland to Ghana. I'm Alexa Ramtum. I'm following the male chicks route.
My name's Verena Sieben. I'm doing the background research. Is this law a breakthrough for animal welfare, or is it just making things worse? Germans love their eggs, eating around 230 per person every year. That's around 20 billion eggs annually. These eggs come from a chicken breed used especially for mass production. Now, egg cartons that promise no chick culling with brother rooster rearing suggest that these chickens are living a good life. Our research begins where commercially bred chickens are born, in a hatchery.
I'm on my way to the village of Senden in the German state of North Rhine-Westphalia. Burkhard Brinkschulte runs this hatchery. He and his colleague Claudia Kunert show me around. The main business here is incubating and rearing laying hens. These incubators can hold more than 300,000 eggs. Of course, it's not just hens that hatch here.
From experience, they're 50% female, 50% male. Then there are the ones which don't hatch, either because the egg's unfertilized or they just don't make it.
Before the law came into effect, male chicks would be anesthetized and killed after hatching. Now they're allowed to live, but hatcheries still only profit from their hens. Why aren't the roosters profitable for you?
Basically, there are no buyers for these brother roosters, since there's relatively little meat on them. That's exactly our biological dilemma. And there are no customers. No one wants to buy these roosters.
After 40 days, a fattened hen weighs about 2.5 kilos. It takes roosters more than 150 days to reach anywhere close to that weight.
Meanwhile, in the hatchery, I'm finding out how soon chick life begins in the egg.
Now and then you'll see a heart beating. But from these neural pathways you can tell. The body's lying below and the air sacs up here.
You can see all the movements.
Yes, clearly. There's life in here.
2 years ago, if this egg contained a male chick, he would have been killed at birth.
The practice of culling male chicks had long been condemned by animal rights activists. In 2013, they denounced Brinkschulte's hatchery to make an example of the whole industry. In 2016, the company was indicted, but the case was dismissed because chick culling wasn't expressly forbidden under German law. However, the court clearly stated that lawmakers could make culling chicks a punishable offense, and in 2022, they did.
It's a milestone for animal welfare.
Now, German farmers have the following options. Option 1, raise the brother roosters and sell their meat. Option 2, use breeds of chickens that can lay eggs and produce better meat. Option 3, sort out male chicks by the 13th day of incubation before they hatch. The draft law was introduced in the late summer of 2020 and took effect at the start of 2022. Not all hatcheries made the transition in time.
In North Rhine-Westphalia, we were one of 13 hatcheries. Today there's just 2 of us. Germany-wide, there were 25 at one point. Now there's only 5 of us, and even we're not very happy. That law was just made for the media.
But critics were pacified, at first. When animal rights activists took legal action against Brinkschulte's hatchery, it pushed the government to act, but at great cost.
It was a lose-lose situation because there was nothing to be won. The ethical side can't triumph without a working solution.
In a hatchery like this, male chicks hatch one after the other. But where are they supposed to go now? That one's trying to break out of its shell.
They're in the hatching phase now.
What day are we on now?
The 20th incubation day.
The female chicks are raised here to become laying hens, or later sold to other farms as young hens. And what's to become of this little guy?
First they hatch. There aren't many yet. Then he'll be vaccinated and fattened up.
The fattening and the slaughtering usually don't take place in Germany, but rather in neighboring Poland.
The slaughtering happens almost exclusively in Poland, as it costs more to slaughter the birds in Germany. So they just can't compete.
We've heard that most of the male chicks go abroad, to Poland in particular, so we're going to take a closer look.
The law was created to improve animal welfare, but now these male chicks are being transported over great distances. I want to find out what happens to them after that. The companies Burkhardt Brinkschulte has hired to raise the male chicks wouldn't respond to us and gave no indication as to where they're reared. Where do other German hatcheries send their male chicks? I do some research, writing associations and poultry farms, yet no one will provide any concrete info. So I turned to animal rights activists. Early on, many suspected the anti-chick shredding law would only make matters worse. They've shot videos showing how these roosters really live. To me, this isn't the ethical rooster rearing those egg cartons promised since the law took effect. The animal rights activists give me a list of farms which rear brother roosters. I forward the list to Alexa.
I set off for Poland to see for myself what the conditions are like for the roosters living there. Journalist Marcin Krasnolowski has agreed to help me with my research here. He's been working on animal husbandry in Poland for years and has uncovered some shocking cases.
I run, various investigations on different subjects, and this is the most difficult one. I guess in Germany it was a big subject to save those male chicks, but then in Poland there is no information.
He's investigated businesses all over Poland on our behalf.
I called the Chamber of Poultry Producers in Warsaw, I think pretty big organization, and I asked the question, and then the guy said, I don't know. I asked him another question and he just disconnected in half of my sentence, which is quite strange.
Why is there so little info about what's happening to the brother roosters? If it's all legal, what have these companies got to hide? Over 17 million male chicks have been brought here to Poland. But here, no one seems to know what's happened to them. Apparently, they've vanished without a trace, but that can't be. So we're going to search for them. Let's see if we can find out more by going there ourselves. We head for places on the list given to us by animal rights activists. Our first destination is just south of Wrocław. A slaughterhouse for boiling fowl is said to be located here, and we want to have a look around. The brother roosters are much too small to be slaughtered in conventional abattoirs, but slaughterhouses for boiling fowl are designed to handle smaller birds, so there's a good chance the German roosters are being slaughtered here. We ask around, but no one's willing to speak with us.
The director has no interest in this kind of interview. He doesn't want to speak to you.
So we can't talk with anyone?
No.
But we keep going and make our way to a large farm which appears to have a lot of coops.
Want to go in?
Yeah, maybe. Hello.
Is there someone we can speak to?
Go around to the other side of the building.
Okay.
Thank you.
We finally get a lead. In 2 days' time, 28,000 male chicks are scheduled to arrive from Germany. The owner is even willing to let us film inside, provided we don't show his face.
At first, most animal rights activists were happy that chick culling was banned in Germany. Now, they're just shaking their heads. Friedrich Mühlen from animal rights organization Soko Tierschutz heavily criticizes how the law has been implemented.
Anyone who holds an egg carton like this in their hands thinks, hey, I'm doing something good, and at least these animals can live a decent life. Needs to know that these birds will wind up in a factory farm and die in Poland or another foreign country. So anyone buying these eggs should really think twice before falling for this cheap brother rooster PR trick.
He thinks it was wrong that male chicks used to be killed just after they hatched. But a law that forbids their slaughter while condemning them to poor living conditions isn't much of an improvement.
These animals barely turn a profit, so they stuff halls full of them to get something out of it in the end. The result is bunions, infected open wounds on the feet, and excruciating pain.
So is the new law a failure?
The thinking behind the law was, let's put a lid on the chick shredding problem. But even back then I knew it wouldn't work. They weren't thinking about the animals. And in the end, consumers in the supermarket are left with a bunch of meaningless labels and empty promises.
Yet the law was supposed to do the exact opposite.
Back in Poland, this coop is still empty. But 2 days from now, 28,000 male chicks from Germany will be arriving.
Okay.
There's lots of room. How many chicks will fit in here?
30,000. I find a free coop and that's where the chicks go.
Like a broker.
Yes, I do it all.
So you arrange for places all over Poland. How many chicks have you placed in total, do you think?
16 million.
But the brother roosters won't stay here for long.
After 12 weeks, they go to the slaughterhouse, where they wind up in soup or pâté, or they're exported.
Where to?
Many go to Africa.
Oh, okay. So where exactly?
I don't know, that's unknown to me.
Why Africa of all places?
I don't know, they won't say.
In this coop, the conditions look quite good right now, but where a male chick winds up is largely a matter of luck. Since it took effect, shouldn't the law be protecting the well-being of all chicks and brother roosters?
Europe-wide, agriculture, including the poultry industry, receives about 50 billion euros in EU subsidies every year. But the market for brother roosters is quite small, and selling their meat is unprofitable, especially in Germany. Europe's subsidy system has knock-on effects in other countries, like Ghana. Let's take a closer look.
I traveled to the city of Kumasi in Ghana. My first stop, the market. Poultry is popular here. especially imported chicken. That's because imported poultry meat brought to Ghana is cheaper. The oven-ready chicken sold by local farms costs the equivalent of €4. Imported chicken costs half that much. Local farmers can't compete on price, so most consumers buy the imported meat.
I mainly eat imported chicken because the meat from local farms is too expensive. Imported chickens are very plump and have a lot of meat. That's good. The local chickens are much smaller and pricier. I prefer imported meat because it can feed the whole family.
So I can say that it's very good for us because anybody can afford it.
5 hours by car from Kumasi lies the port of Accra. The Ghanaian capital is the imported meat's first point of arrival. Many here are involved in its trade.
Hi. Nice to meet you. My name is Philomena.
For more than a decade, Philomena Otu has been buying and selling imported poultry. It's stored here.
And this is the cold room.
She receives 20 to 30 containers of imported chicken per month.
And where does the chicken meat come from?
It comes from US, Poland, fish, China, and Turkey, other places. Yeah.
The supply chain often starts in Europe too.
Okay, das ist jetzt wirklich alles.
Okay, all this meat had its origins in Germany, then went to Poland and now has wound up here in Ghana. You won't find whole frozen birds in this cold room, just chicken parts. Philomena Otu says imports have increased in recent years.
Well, for now, chicken business has become more. Most importation has become really more in Ghana. People will prefer like buying, so we'll be buying more. We will import more to Ghana because a whole lot of people are involving themselves in their business.
The imported chicken makes it tough for local sellers to survive on the domestic market. Christiana Yeboah feels the effects of this practice. She operates a chicken farm with her family. She says there was lots of activity here years ago. Now, only a few coops are at full capacity. She takes me into one.
Here is 1,000. Yeah, it's one room.
Imported meat is undercutting her business.
Me, I don't like foreign meat. I don't like it. Everything is money. Because of the price, it's almost falling. So.
She sells her chickens for around €4 apiece. That's almost twice as much as the poultry Ghana imports from abroad.
It's expensive to fatten the animals. We can't keep up with the price of imported chicken meat. The farms in Ghana are collapsing because of the chicken imports. We make almost no profit.
Until a few years ago, this farm employed many people. Now there's not much work to be done.
Here is empty.
Over the years, she's had to lay off more and more workers.
When was the last time when you were chicken inside?
Almost 2 years.
3 years.
2 years.
It's not easy for Christiana Yeboah and her family.
Farming is how we earn money. So we're trying to keep our farm alive. Because if it doesn't survive, I don't have any other options.
At first glance, Ghanaian consumers seem to benefit from the cheap imports. But they're preventing Ghana's poultry production from becoming self-sufficient. Plus, it's not sustainable to ship meat thousands of kilometers.
To recap, German law banned chick culling in 2022. Now, the labels on egg cartons lead consumers to believe that male chicks will lead good lives. One of the solutions proposed by the law involved raising and selling the birds.
One of the few farms doing just that is in Goch, in North Rhine-Westphalia. 6,000 female chicks and 1,000 males are being delivered to this organic farm.
There are about 80 of them. They hatched yesterday. The hens were brown, and the roosters are white.
These roosters are supposed to have a good life, right from the start. Looks like he's going his own way. Where do you think you're going?
Experiencing this gives you respect for living creatures. And it doesn't make sense to say, it's here now, better kill it. But with this breed line, it's just not possible to raise the brother cock sensibly.
Still, he rears them well.
So, here we have our brother roosters. They were put into a normal coop, a pre-rearing coop. And then, 2 or 3 weeks ago, they came over here. Here they can range freely. There's feed and water in the coop. Outside, there's no extra feed.
By raising the brother roosters, he's doing what the lawmakers intended. But that's not competitive in the long run. Bodin wishes consumer attitudes would change so that small farms like his didn't sell their eggs and chickens at a loss. The politician's other suggestion is to breed dual-purpose chickens. This type of chicken lays fewer eggs, but can also be used for meat production. But that's not profitable for farmers like Jens Bodin, so he's pleading for government subsidies. What's your wish for the future?
To get some support from the politicians. It can't be that we're leading the way and then at some point we're forced to throw in the towel. It was the politicians' idea, so they need to take responsibility for it and not leave us in the lurch.
Time to hear from the politicians. Germany's Ministry of Food and Agriculture is currently headed by Cem Özdemir from the Greens. Scheduling issues meant we couldn't speak with him in person, so we put our questions in writing. We asked, what do you think of the fact chicks are being taken abroad, where they're fattened and slaughtered under awful conditions? Does that comply with animal welfare? A ministry spokesman responded.
The German government has no knowledge as to whether brother roosters from German hatcheries are being raised, slaughtered, and sold under questionable conditions abroad.
He wouldn't be more specific than that. What does the ministry think about rooster meat being exported to Africa? We didn't receive an answer. The Agriculture Ministry is allocating funds for dual-purpose chickens and in ovo sexing, which can determine a chick's sex before hatching.
In ovo sexing makes it possible to stunt the incubation of male chick embryos so that brother roosters don't hatch at all. Since hatcheries are increasingly dependent on in ovo sexing, it's expected that the number of brother roosters will continue to decline.
That way, male chicks are already sorted out as embryos. That's possible until the 13th day of incubation. Could that be the solution?
At the Owl University of Applied Sciences, they're trying to use in ovo sexing even earlier. Researcher Jens Stauffenbiel shows me a method they're working on.
We hope to develop a device which will enable us to cheaply identify the sex on the 3rd day of incubation. Then, whether the sensation of pain really develops on the 7th or 13th day isn't even up for discussion. Our examination method lets the cull take place before that, so animal suffering is reduced to a minimum.
This device collects gender-specific data from the incubated egg. Hormones, proteins, and other data get measured after making a small hole in the eggshell. So we've made a hole in it to get to the membrane?
Right, because we expect to find far more hormones to measure in the membrane than on the eggshell.
Afterwards, a laser beam of a specific wavelength will be shown into the hole. That stimulates the molecules in the egg's outer shell membrane, causing them to emit a distinctive form of radiation, which differs according to the embryo's sex.
Here you can already see the measurement signals arriving and the counts being registered by the detector.
Then, with the help of an algorithm, it determines whether the chick is male or female. This method is only worth it for mass egg production in large companies, though.
Naturally, we hope that when it's fully developed, the industry will recognize that it no longer has to go to great lengths to get around the German law.
The German government has allocated over 8 million euros to fund research of in ovo sexing methods. But this technology is still being developed.
All of the alternatives to chick shredding are either not market ready or not economical.
So it makes no difference if the egg carton says no male chicks cold. The only purpose that serves is to soothe guilty consciences, because Germany's anti-chick culling law is well-intentioned but poorly executed.